In this video, I'm going to be comparing a few different blades to see if they really matter when you're cutting melamine. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jason with Bent's Woodworking. For those of you that have been following along, you know that I've recently been using quite a bit of melamine, whether it's white melamine or black melamine. I've used black melamine very heavily in my new shop to create all of my different work surfaces, and I'm currently working on a built-in project for my son's closet using white melamine. Since I've been posting about using melamine as much as I have been, I've been getting a lot of questions, all related to what blade am I using on the melamine. And so I've actually had the opportunity to use a few different styles of blades. And in this video, we're gonna do some side-by-side comparison and some tests and let you make the determination on how much the blade really matters with this material. So what I have on the assembly table in front of me is two different sheets of melamine. Like I said before, I've been using the white melamine to do a closet built-in, and it's been working very well. And then the black melamine is what I've primarily been using on all of my work surfaces in the shop. Now real quick, what drew me towards the melamine? Well, melamine is actually a really, really good work surface for a couple of reasons. One, it's very slick, and I actually like that. And two, finish and stuff doesn't stick to it. So when you have glue squeeze out and everything else, it's so easy to clean this surface, because I can just take a card scraper or something and just go straight across the top and everything comes off. And because of that, I actually feel like it's becoming a very common work surface in people's shops. So for the demonstration, when I actually make the cuts, I'm gonna be using the black melamine. And the reason why I'm gonna use the black for the demonstration is it'll be a lot easier to see any kind of chip out or tear out. This is not anything scientific behind this, it's just a quick way to demonstrate what the difference really is, and then you can make the determination on what kind of blade you really think works best. But the way that this is gonna work is I'm gonna make three different cuts. I'll do a standard cross cut, just making the cut all at once. I'll do another standard cross cut, but I will be using tape on the area that I will cut. And then the third cut, I will do a scoring pass first, very shallow, and then go back and finish the cut. And then as I finish each one of these with each blade, I will set them off to the side. We'll label everything, and then I'll bring you in really close so you can see the difference between them. So now I'll go ahead and bring you in close so you can see exactly what blades I'm using. Okay, so for this test, I will be using my Festool TS 55 track saw because that's what I have the blades for. And these are the three blades that I'll be using. This is the standard 48 tooth blade that comes when you buy the actual track saw. This here is an aftermarket blade from Key Blades and Fixings. And also the specs on this are almost identical to the stock blade that comes with the Festool track saw. However, the real only difference that I can find between this blade and this are the gullets on the Festool track saw blade are actually deeper than this. And this blade right here is also a 48 tooth. However, this is designed specifically for this style material, whether it be melamine or particle board. I was actually very curious to see if this was going to make that big of a difference on this project. And again, so we'll see in the test just what the real difference between these blades are. I'm going to go ahead and get my assembly table and crosscut station all set up, and then we'll go ahead and start making the cuts. So the way that this is going to work, I've got the standard stock blade that comes in this particular track saw. I'm going to do all three cuts. I'll do my regular cut, then I'll do the regular cut with tape added to the top, and then the third cut is I'll do the scoring cut. And I'll do all three cuts, then I'll change the blade over, and then I'll do the same thing with the last two blades, and then we'll bring it in close for a detailed comparison looking at each one of the edges. And the conditions will be the same for each one: track saw, and then I'll drop down this guard all the way down to the piece, and we'll see how it comes out from there. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making these cuts. Okay, so we're on the last blade, and this is the blade for Melamine. We'll make our 3 cuts, and then we'll see if it really matters. All right, so close-up view of the first one. So this is the 3 cuts that I made with the stock blade that comes with this specific track saw. And so I've got them labeled, right? So this is the stock blade. The bottom portion of each one of these is the edge that was cut. So this was cut here, the tape was here, cut here, and then this was the one with the scoring pass. And so by looking at these right off the bat, you can see they're pretty good quality cuts. You do have a little bit of chip out right here. You have a little bit of chip out right there, but that looks like it's pretty much the only portion of any kind of tear out. And that is on the offcut side, right? So this is the part that was actually underneath the track, and that'll be the same way with all of these pieces. And if you look here, there's really, that's not even tear out. Maybe that's just a little bit right there. So nice clean when it's supported by the track itself. But if you put them together, you can kind of see a little bit of that tear out, a little bit more, but I mean, it's very, very, very minimal. Okay, so that is the stock blade with no tape. This is the one with the tape, and for the most part, actually it looks about the same. Looks like I got some tear out right here. Looks like I got some tear out right down here, a little bit more down there. Now, a part of that is pulling the tape itself off. If you look at this, you'll see that this laminate that's on the top of this particle board is not very thick. It is extremely fragile, very thin. I don't know what the different qualities of melamine are, but I would say this is probably on the lower side. So that's with the stock blade with tape on this portion right here. And then as you can see in this, I've still got the tape on the upper part. And if I look here where I made the scoring cut, there's actually no tear out. It doesn't look like there's any at all, making not even an 1/8 of an inch scoring pass first, very light pass, and then going back and doing the full plunge. So with that blade, I would say the best is actually doing the scoring cut, but I would be, I'd probably be pretty happy with any of these results, to be honest with you. So let's go ahead and move on to the next blade. Okay, so this is the Aftermarket Blade, and they're going to be displayed in the exact same format. And I do have to admit, I'm actually surprised by the results of this one, because this is not what I was expecting. And I'll give you my ideas on why here in just a moment. So this right here is the key blades and fixins triple chip. It's very, very, very similar to the stock Festool blade in terms of specs. I'm actually surprised to see these results. So let's get into it. Aftermarket blade with no tape. If you look along this edge, there is no tear out. None at all. There's not one spot where the melamine chipped away. Same thing goes for the opposite side. So that's looking good so far. Aftermarket blade with the tape on this edge, again, absolutely no tear out. No chipping, anything like that. And then we go down here to the aftermarket blade with the scoring cut, and as I expected after seeing the first 2 cuts, it's just as good. Nice, crisp line, absolutely no tear out. So very, very, very good results with that blade. Now let's go ahead and go to the third. All right, so here's the third set. And I gotta be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised by the results. So this is with the actual melamine blade. And this first cut was with no tape. And as you can see, I've got some, this is the biggest pieces of tear out so far. Again, not super bad, but if you're looking at it from right there, you can definitely see it. Then we go down to the piece with tape, and it looks pretty good. Not really any sections of tear out. That's just some dust. Looks like maybe we have a tiny, tiny little spot here, and this spot down here, which I actually, as soon as I saw that come off, I looked at the tape and it was on the tape. And then moving down, so very, very similar to the original blade. As we go down, this is the scoring pass. And so, as you can see, again, absolutely no tear out whatsoever with the scoring pass. The one thing that I'm taking away from this mostly is that the best quality cut on all three blades was the blades where I did a scoring pass first. All three of them are chip out or tear out free. And again, all I did to do these is a quick 1/8 of an inch maybe pass, and then come right back and do the entire pass. But no tear out on any of the blades. All three are exactly the same quality. And I would say for cutting melamine, based on this very quick non-scientific test, doing the scoring pass had the most benefit. If I had to pick one blade that had the best results, I would say that this is it. Like I said before, this is not a scientific test. It's just a question that I've been getting asked a whole bunch ever since I started posting about using melamine. It seems like the most common question, the one thing that everybody wants to know is, what blade am I using for it? I have used all three of those blades on all the different projects that I've done, and I have formed my own opinions on those blades. And so now that I've shown you guys the difference, you guys can all make your own determination. I think based on the quick little test that I did, there is one blade that performed better than the others. But with that being said, any of those blades I would be totally fine with using on the project at their current state. One of these days I would actually like to put something to the test and do a comparison on different table saw blades, because I do get very different results at the table saw with my combination blade than I do with, say, maybe a fine finish blade. Same thing applies over at my miter saw. So maybe later on in the future, when I get a few different blades that I can actually run some pretty good tests, I'll do some videos on those comparisons as well, not just on melamine, but some other woods. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, especially for those of you that have been wondering and have wanted to try working with melamine on maybe an upcoming project. I've got a lot of really cool videos with similar stuff to this, but I really want to start diving into the areas where I think I can show multiple different things and multiple different techniques to achieve the same outcome. And so that's what I'm gonna start making a little bit of a push for, and something that you're gonna be seeing a lot more on my channel. As always, everybody, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you're new to my channel, consider subscribing. And if you guys ever have any questions, please do not hesitate to send me a message, and I would be happy to help however I can. Or you can go over to Instagram and find me there at Ben's Woodworking and send me a DM, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. That's gonna do it this week. Until next time, get out in the shop, try something new, and I'll see you in the next video.